the research that you've done, all the cases that you've reviewed on privatization trends in the water sector, in addition to things like profiteering, are there any other problems that you see with it?
When you look at cases, it's not just about profiteering. We try to look at the cases and the privatization projects from various angles. So, and of course matching them to whatever the claims are being made. So there are claims that different claims to promote privatization. So they would claim that when the private company comes, they would bring in financial resources, which the public sector doesn't have, to really upgrade and improve the water supply systems. They will bring in something called efficiency. They will bring in lower tariffs. They will bring in better services.
Yeah.
They will bring in more coverage to the areas where there's no pipe water supply. They will bring in more accountability to the systems. There will be more transparency, and the private sector would take on to the risks that the public sector has to bear while executing water projects. But against all these claims and arguments, when we have really gone through the cases and the projects, these arguments really don't stand, because financially, in earlier cases, yes, they brought in finance. Somewhere, I mean, when we talk about projects like in Bolivia or in Metro Manila or in Argentina, yes, they brought in finance, but that finance eventually led to the demise of those projects, because that finance was borrowed from some of the international banks, which were of course public sector banks. So it was something that a private company was borrowing finance from a public sector international bank to invest in a project in a certain country, but it had to pay that loan, that borrowed money, back to that bank with an interest added, and this had a huge repercussion on the water tariffs, because the water tariffs fluctuated with the international exchange rates fluctuation.
Yeah.
So if the international exchange rate went up, or suppose whatever the currency of Bolivia is against the dollar, so if the dollar went up and the Bolivian currency went down, the water tariffs shot up. So, and in fact, actually in practical life, there is no connection. Why should water tariffs go up because of the international currency fluctuations?
Yes.
Yeah. So initially, of course, they brought in finances, but then they realized that it is not easy to bring in finances with intertwined with interest and foreign exchange fluctuations, and then you have to recover it from water tariffs. So there was a huge, that model was really flawed, and it really didn't work out. So and in the later projects, it was mainly mainly the public sector funding, either from the institutions like the World Bank, or the local government borrowing money, or generating funds from its own resources. The private sector brings in, but it brings very minimum amount, just to show that, of course, it is putting in some of its money to ensure that it's kind of a partner in the project.
Yeah.
So financial angle, financial claim really does not stand any longer, and that's the reason we see models like PPP.
Yeah.
Where 90% of the funds are being invested by the public sector, the government. 10% or maybe 15% is invested by the private companies. But that enables that company to control the services for next 25 or 30 years.
Yeah.
So that's a huge benefit that's a huge trade-off for a company investing 15% and controlling the whole service for
Holistic quarter of its
yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.